I'm ready.
SpongeBob is your intro theme today?
You know what? I guess so. I'm ready. Vacation. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Vacation. That was a song, right?
In SpongeBob?
Yeah.
No, I think the one in SpongeBob was like, I'm ready. I thought
it was like, I'm ready. Promotion.
Oh, yeah, there was that one too.
I guess he has a couple. Different
promotion.
ones.
Yeah, you're right. He does.
It's the best day ever. Yo, when that first SpongeBob movie came out, that was an instant classic.
Now we're just gonna be singing SpongeBob all episode.
This is actually an entirely SpongeBob dedicated episode.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about SpongeBob for 3 hours.
We are gonna talk about SpongeBob.
Pumping out 3 times the content, 3 times the sponge.
Sounds pretty good to me, honestly. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Well, it's Thursday, which means, you know what that means.
Facts. It means it's the day that we record Starbound podcast.
It is the day. I guess
of all time.
Everybody else will be listening to this on Friday, but
but they know that we recorded on Thursday
in spirit.
They can feel the talkative energy in the air, and they're like,
exactly.
"Oh, it's Thursday."
It doesn't feel like It doesn't feel like a Friday when you listen to the podcast. It feels like a Thursday.
That's the thing. So even though they listen on Friday, they're like, "Damn, it must be Thursday."
They probably get the week all twisted in their minds. Like, what day of the week is it?
They check their clock or their watch or whatever, and they're like, "Damn, it's Friday. It feels like Thursday."
No, this doesn't.
When they're listening,
add up. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, they keep saying it's Thursday, but I keep seeing it on Friday." Anyway, let's cut right to the chase. All right.
Yeah.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Every Thursday for the past 9 weeks.
Yeah.
The last 9 weeks is the release of a new She-Hulk episode.
Yep.
We just now, literally in the last 10 minutes, probably even less than maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We just saw the last episode of She-Hulk. That's all my mind is buzzing about right
yes,
now.
we did. My question is this, Sean: are we allowed to spoil it? Because
it's too hot off the plate. We literally just watched
so we can't
the
spoil
last
it,
episode,
right? Because you said that there, in one of the earlier episodes, you said there was a specific time frame in which.
I feel like if it's older than 10 years, you can spoil it because if you haven't seen it. Yeah, that's on you.
So
it's either a classic
we can't spoil it. So we got to talk about.
That's what I mean. So with this, we can only spoil what's in the trailers and in promotional stuff. So people already know that Daredevil is in the show.
Was he in promotional stuff?
He's literally in the trailer.
Okay.
I think he's actually. I don't know if he's in the first trailer, but he's in the second trailer.
You could have said spoiler warning, but
no, bro. To me, look, if it's in the trailer, it's no spoil.
Okay.
It's no spoil because they spoiled it for you first. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. I respect it.
Sorry. Spoiler warning. Daredevil's in the show, but it's not really a spoiler because first of all, he's in the trailer.
Yeah.
So everyone's just been waiting every episode to see when Daredevil's going to show up.
Yeah.
And B, I feel like the moment he did show up, I just see it all over my feed.
Yeah.
So for me, you really, even if you try, you're not really going to avoid these spoilers.
Yeah. So I would say, I guess we can sort of generally talk about it. I would say it was a weird show.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, do we start from the tip, or do we start from the overall look of it, or do we start at the end? Because right now,
I would just say I don't even know, but I would say as we started the show, we're like, all right, okay, cool. We liked the first 2 episodes a lot. I think
first episode was strong. First episode was really strong.
Right? I can't remember, but we're like, okay, where's this show going? And one of the things about this show is that you just never know where it's going. And even, I think, in the last episode, it doesn't really go anywhere.
No, I was just going to say that, this show never has the same type of narrative direction as, I think, anything that Marvel has done for sure. But also just, almost anything I've seen before.
Yeah.
It's not even episodic per se, but it's just where is this show wanting to go? Because it'll show you a direction in one episode, and it'll never follow through.
Yeah.
In the next episode or the ending, because I've seen it all now, and none of the directions it ever really stuck with.
It doesn't really tie together. I feel like they had multiple plot lines that they were curious about, and they really didn't know how to solve them.
Yeah.
So they do this really funny thing in the last episode. It's funny and it's crazy, but it's also okay, but is that an excuse to not have your story make any sense?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think there was a lot of clever ideas that they did execute on here or there. It's very intelligent. It's a very self-aware show. But that doesn't make it an interesting story from beginning to end. It's just that there's a lot of interesting ideas in it. It's almost like I feel like it's almost like an art project where there's a very intellectual, artistic view on it, but it doesn't actually bring any entertainment value to anyone that watches.
Right. Yeah. I would say, as far as like entertainment goes, though, like there were some episodes that I loved, and there were some episodes that I just thought were so bad. But it was kind of weird how it was like that.
But that's the thing, because the show is so intelligent and self-aware. Is it intentionally bad sometimes?
Maybe. I would say overall, I enjoyed it. I would say like there was like some episodes in the middle that were kind of slow or something, because they're only like 35 minutes each, but sometimes they still don't really tell the story.
I feel like shorts, honestly.
Yeah, but then especially like the ones in the beginning and the ones in the end, I was very entertained by. Whether that be entertained because it was good or entertained because it was crazy, like I was still entertained nonetheless. Like that.
Yeah, I was definitely I think I had a really strong start. When you go into like anything Marvel these days, of course you have an expectation that you want to be met.
Yeah.
Even though people like to go on the internet and say they don't want this expectation met, they do go in with that same expectation.
Yeah.
I think I went in with that expectation and they met it a little bit while still being themselves. But then they went in a completely different direction that it at first turned me off, because I'm like, this isn't really the show that I signed up for.
Yeah.
But then once you kind of accept what it is, it's like, actually, it's kind of fun to come in every week and like...
Just because it's so crazy.
Exactly. Like random ass trials, you know?
But it's also like, doesn't even feel that much like a lawyer show.
That's another thing, like, and it's funny I'm bringing in Daredevil here.
Yeah.
But in Daredevil's... all of his 3 seasons, maybe a little less in the second season, but each season has a little bit of this. There is a true court, like, lawyer show going on. There's real law jargon. There's real, like, lawyers kind of, like, you see their day-to-day life and, like, how they go through these cases and how they prepare for them and everything. Right. Of course, everything is still, like, stylized for, like, TV, you know? But... you can feel the legal trials.
It feels real. It feels like real. Lawyers.
Like you go to court and you could see these people and they would talk like this.
Yeah, She-Hulk doesn't feel like a real lawyer.
She never does anything actually. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. No, she does do some things lawyer-esque, but not good.
I understand what you're saying, because like in Daredevil, I feel like they have them in the office like filing and doing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But She-Hulk just sits at a desk. Like we never see her like prepare really.
She never prepares for any trial, and it's because the show isn't actually about her being a lawyer. It's about her personal life.
And the writers, I feel like, aren't. I think they even said that they don't really know how to do like lawyer talk,
and it comes across.
Which
is weird, because the moment that Daredevil shows up, he talks like a lawyer. Like, he knows what he's talking about.
That's what I'm saying. It's I'm glad that Daredevil was written into She-Hulk as he at least sounds in his own show. I was scared that he wouldn't, but he still sounds the same, which I was like, okay, thank God, because like it would be kind of awkward if he just started sounding like just like different and made jokes.
Exactly. Like you can tell the difference. Like Daredevil is a really good lawyer. He's genuinely a very good lawyer.
But I'm like, did the writers come on and write Daredevil? Because then they do know how to write lawyers. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. I don't think it's the same. I feel like they got a separate like team from the Daredevil writing team. They said, we're gonna do Daredevil because we don't want you to like screw it up, and they wrote his section of the episode.
Honestly, that would be good,
because it's like night and day the way that
it's so different.
Daredevil's written in lawyer stuff and the way that Jennifer Walters is written.
Exactly. That actually felt like the most like legit case, because
between them two.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, but
But you get to see them in court, and they really do kind of go through like how a court's supposed to be run, and like how they decide all these things and indictments and stuff like that. Whereas
that felt like
any episode without Daredevil, it was like, I mean, I guess I see the court, but they're not really acting like it's like a trial.
And in a lot of lawyer TV, you know, like Better Call Saul and stuff like that, you know, there's probably some like sort of what's it called? What's it called when you take like a they're lenient with like how it is in reality or whatever. Like But I think I've heard that Better Call Saul is actually one of the ones that's like a bit more truer to
how trials work.
Yeah, but She-Hulk is definitely very far away from that.
That's the thing. It's like I feel like Daredevil. No, like he you can tell that he's trained for it. You know, like he's really worked on like what it means to be a lawyer, like what you need to know off the bat, and then he's skilled in it. Where I feel like Jen, like you can definitely feel that she went to college to be a lawyer, but when she's in the trial, she's always just like, you know, on the neck of her heels that like a miracle can like help her in a case.
That's true.
She's never she's never running the courtroom.
That's true. It's like one realization. Yeah.
In the first trial, because there's, you know, they already know that Abomination is in the show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a trial for Abomination, and she, with her particular case, it was like if this one thing doesn't happen, the whole case is screwed.
Yeah.
She's gonna
lose.
No,
you're right. A lot of times it is this sort of like, what's it called? Deus ex machina that comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
And is like just like miraculously convenient for her to win the case or whatever. Yeah. And so it's not like she's not written like a badass lawyer. She's written like not even a lawyer. I feel like she's written like she's been doing it for like a year. Yeah,
they write her as if she's fresh out of school, just being a lawyer for the first time, and you can feel that she's kind of like still figuring out how to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Whereas Daredevil, like, first of all, he has 3 seasons, so he's literally like seasoned.
Yeah.
But I feel like even in his first season, he was younger, of course, but like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
he knew how to. He could get the win.
Right.
I don't feel like Jennifer Walters could get the win.
I agree.
So
I agree.
You know, this is that part of the show.
Yeah.
And like, but then like there are key parts that are so amazing.
Yeah.
The change with Abomination, at first I was hesitant on. I actually ended up loving in the end. I like how he's like a lot more chill now. I mean, he's older, you know, like times kind of changed. Yeah. And that dynamic of him wanting to kill
Watch the spoilers. Okay.
That movie's now 10 years.
Yeah, The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk is fine. Yeah. So the way that Abomination like tried to kill Hulk in the past and now has an interaction with Jennifer Walters now, who is Hulk's cousin. Yeah. You know, that's kind of interesting to see play out.
Oh, dude, I just thought of something else. Sorry, this is completely unrelated.
Yeah.
But well, did you satisfy your She-Hulk thing? Like, do you feel satisfied? Because I was about to just completely switch up the topic just because I like remembered something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me quickly say this about the end. Of the show.
Get your final statements. Now we're trained lawyers.
I'm here. Now we're trying to get your closing statements in. But overall, She-Hulk is very different from like any Marvel project.
It's whack.
It's really whack. Would I recommend it to someone? Actually, I would,
because it's like 35 minutes. It's like easy. It's like fast.
Yeah.
If you're bored, do it. You know, I watched Hawkeye within like 2 days, and it was like around Christmas time last year, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I know you weren't as big on it, but I think it's like when you're binging it, sometimes you don't really care as much. Like,
no, there's definitely a different viewing experience from when you're watching it on binge and you're seeing episode to episode back to back, and when you're waiting once a week and you're valuing, was this episode worth the week wait?
Yes.
You know, it's a different viewing experience.
I would say it could be a fun binge if you're bored and you need something.
I think it'd be a great binge because there's a lot of cool things that do occur and show up.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's a whole episode with Daredevil.
Yeah.
The whole thing is amazing.
That's worth the whole show.
The whole thing is
you can just go back and watch that episode and be satisfied.
Exactly. Yeah. Satisfied. You know who else was satisfied?
Angelica, because she's in the show.
I wasn't going to make that reference, but yes, she was also satisfied because she's in the show. No, but that episode's great. And in the ending, it's weird. I don't think it actually satisfies the show.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I will say that it's incredibly interesting.
It's interesting for sure.
It's super duper interesting.
Something interesting, but it probably could have been still done better.
Definitely still. I think honestly it needed an hour.
Yeah.
I think the show should have been longer per episode and less episodes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
I would have been fine with like 4 episodes that are an hour 20 long.
Yeah.
Then 9 episodes, 30 minutes, and we never really get anywhere with any episode.
It does feel very like episodic and
yeah. But I will say, like, I definitely highly recommend She-Hulk for binge.
For binge, for sure.
Don't go in with any expectations. Yeah. It's not going to be like the next coming of Avengers.
Oh no, that's what we're saying. It's like it's not It's not like very good. It's just like mildly.
It's just entertaining.
Yeah, it's like mildly entertaining.
Yeah. So going with that, I think you'll be fine. It's a good show.
You might like it. You might not like it, but you'll have opinions.
You'll definitely have opinions.
Which that's something to take away, I guess.
I think it's better to be a show with opinions than to be a show
where you're completely satisfied and you're just like, okay.
No, not even that. Because sometimes satisfaction can be okay.
Yeah.
But just like a show that you can't even form an opinion on.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a show, but Justice League, the theatrical cut, the Joss Whedon cut.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally a movie that you can have zero opinion on.
It was just the most, like...
Mid. If mid could be an actual opinion and not just like, oh, it's mid. Like,
which made it awful. The fact that Justice League was made it terrible. Awful.
I'd rather it be actually really bad than it be like...
Yeah, I agree. Because I can't go back and like hate watch it. Like I want a fantastic Justice League movie. But at least if I had an awful one, I could go back and laugh at it. But it's not even like bad enough to do that. It's just like...
Take some risk, you know? Like...
That's why the Snyder Cut is better. Because like... It has more opinions. Okay, it's longer. I do think it enhanced the story. It's more interesting, and there's some more laughable moments. Like the slow mo is kind of ridiculous. See, it's just more entertaining all around. Like
exactly,
it is. Anyway, can I switch? Okay, can I switch to the next thing that I thought about?
Yes, go.
Have you seen the Super Mario trailer?
I have seen the Super Mario trailer.
All right, let's talk about it.
I've seen the Super Mario.
What do you think?
Here's the thing. That trailer was so good,
dude. I know the trailer looks so good.
Bowser.
Yeah.
The animation style, that whole first sequence that you see with the I forgot that kingdom with the penguins, but they're
I can't remember what it was called either.
But that whole thing looked amazing.
Dude, it looked so fire.
But notice how the main character Mario, I don't think he ever says anything actually.
No, he does say something.
He says like 2 words.
He goes, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. And I'm like, okay. Chris Pratt as a Mario. What in the fuck were they thinking, bro? Let me just say this, okay? Like, I get that, what's his name? The guy who voices Mario. It's like Charles Martinet, I think is how you say it.
Oh, is he actually Italian?
He's French, I think, actually. Oh. But, like, yeah, I get that you don't want the whole Mario movie for like an hour and 30 minutes or
Yahoo!
Yeah, going like wahoo or like go time, or like it's a me Mario. Like that
I think I might actually get used to it.
I think I would too, but let's just say that's why they don't want it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then they're like, all right, so we got to do a more like mild accent. Why do you go to Chris Pratt for an accent? Like, look, man was great in the Lego Movie as Emmett. Okay, I'm not gonna hate on that. Like, his voice was fine for Emmett, right? But in this trailer, I'm like listening, and he just kind of says, and you can go watch it, but he goes, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. Like he tries to do like a New York accent or something.
I think he definitely tries to change his voice a little bit. But here's the thing, it's like, I know that they definitely casted Chris Pratt because they wanted like a more standard, like respectfully, Chris Pratt's great on screen, but like he has like the default white man voice.
But there's gotta be a better star that would do it, that could do a better Italian accent.
Yeah, like I think you should have gotten someone that's like definitely more stylized.
I would rather have like Robert,
but can have a nice voice.
I'd rather have like Robert De Niro do it or some shit.
Honestly, I would love you know how funny it'd be if Robert De Niro ever played Mario.
Yeah. Because like if you're gonna go like New York Italian, then you might as well get like one of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
Like, but no, it's just like Chris Pratt. Like is Chris Pratt Italian? Actually, I don't even know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I
mean, I should Google it.
Here's the thing, like, I can hear that Chris Pratt is trying to do something, so it doesn't just sound like, oh, it's me, Chris Pratt.
It doesn't sound like something as in he's a different person. Now, Michael Key is Toad, I think.
I think so.
Yes, Keegan-Michael Key. He's Toad. And he does something. He sounds good in the trailer.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Also, Jack Black, who plays Bowser.
He sounds great.
Sounds like Bowser.
He sounds great.
And he doesn't go for the Jack Black, even though you can feel his essence.
He sounds great, exactly. And even I don't know who voiced the Penguin, but the Penguin sounded so cool.
He sounded fantastic.
He's like... How dare you look on my territory?
No, so it's like, yeah.
Like Chris Pratt, like he's not doing a voice. Like Keegan-Michael Key, he's doing a voice. Jack Black, he's doing a voice. Chris Pratt is doing like a light New York accent. Like it just feels like it's not even like he had a dialect coach or an accent coach or whatever. You know how like actors like like Tom Holland, for example, has to get like accent coaches for Spider-Man movies so he doesn't break into his British accent. Mm-hmm. I just feel like Chris Pratt didn't have that for this movie, and so he just kind of like didn't really practice that much, and he like went into the audio booth and was like, "Here's my try at a New York accent." It's just
I think I'd rather hear the actual original Mario voice.
Yeah, I think I would too. And it's like, Mans has done everything. Why?
And you can tell that the people making the trailer is scared of showing Chris Pratt's performance. Yeah. Because you only get one line, and you don't even see them animate, because I think it's behind the back when he says that line. So you don't even have to see them animate his face to the voice. Yeah. Whereas for Bowser, you literally see that performance off the bat.
Yeah, so after I watched this trailer, I was like so intrigued to hear the other languages versions of the Mario trailer, to hear the voice actors. Mm-hmm. And the best one is kind of regarded as either the one that's in French or the one that's in Portuguese. There's like a videos you can look up. Yeah, you can look up like all different like language versions of the Mario trailer.
Everyone's just trying to find other performances of Mario.
And people liked the French one the most, and like the Portuguese one like the second most or something. And I do think the French one is the best probably because he like does a lot more dubbing than everybody else does for some reason. Like when Mario like flies in and like hits the mushroom, he's like wow. Like how Mario does that?
You see, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm looking for.
But Chris Pratt's like ah. But Mario doesn't go ah.
That's what I'm saying.
Mario goes wow.
I don't know if they just thought that Americans would not like original Mario, but like.
We play the Wii games too.
We're not dumb. We know what Mario. Seth Rogen is playing Donkey Kong. It's perfect. They gotta do the laugh too. They gotta do the laugh.
I don't know what Donkey Kong sounds like, but yeah, I'm actually fine with that. That's fine because at least
because he has like I don't want to say like a sloppy voice.
I would say he has an interesting voice.
I think the voice that he has will match a monkey quite well
of Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would say his voice at least is interesting enough to use. I would say that's like important when you're doing this type of thing. Like, you need to use, if you're going to use an actor with a cool voice. Like use like Christopher Walken or something. Like somebody who's like a really distinct
someone
voice.
That can like be a character or someone that can at least put it on.
Incredibles is a fantastic example. Look at the voice cast. I mean, you got Craig T. Nelson, this guy, like just like such a strong voice, right? Yeah. Samuel L. Right? Holly Hunter, like. Even Violet is voiced by she's voiced by like a like old woman like Violet, but she sounds like she's like like 15. So all these people 14, have like very 15, unique voices. Dash is the only one that's like an actual. Well, I guess Jack Jack's a baby, but yeah. Anyway, the point is like you shouldn't just like pick Chris Pratt.
I think they just thought like. Oh, we want like an American superstar actor, Chris. I was telling you about this earlier that like I really don't like movies where their only sell is that major star The Rock is in this, or major star Kevin Hart, or major star this, major star that. It's like, okay, I get that people like to just come into movies just because of their favorite actor, but like the story actually should be the baseline for anything of quality from your film.
And at least The Rock has an interesting voice. I mean, he's like, he's Maui in Moana.
Listen, I'm not saying that The Rock ever gives bad. I mean, every now and then he gives a bad performance. But
for voice acting.
No, The Rock is actually fun and is entertaining. And he's good for voice acting. But a lot of times, like he'll be in a role or something that like he doesn't have to be in, but it's like, it's The Rock. That's the sell. And I feel like with this movie, it's like, it's Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
We have superstar American actor Chris Pratt playing Mario.
Right.
It's like,
what? And it's Charlie Day. You know Charlie Day? He's from Horrible Bosses and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. He does like crackhead like conspiracy theory memes.
Maybe I can't remember. It's like a.
You haven't seen it where like there's a whole conspiracy board and he's like this crazy fucking look, and he's like, ah.
Oh, that sounds like something he would do. Maybe that's from one of the movies or something.
It might be. It might be. I think it's from the show, The Sunny in Philadelphia. I think it's from that.
Anyway, he's Luigi, and like they just had. You couldn't really hear him, but at the end of the trailer,
is he in the trailer?
He's like like as he's running, like, and I think his like energy matches Luigi, but I still don't know if he'll do an Italian accent. I hope he does.
We'll see what he does, because you can't have your Luigi be more Italian sounding or original sounding than Mario. You know, it'll come across as like someone's putting in more work than the other.
I know, but I gotta have my Luigi, like, you know, he's got to be correct, man. Luigi's important. You can't mess that up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do a legendary character, right? I understand everyone wants to put their own spin on something. I don't even know if this is someone putting a spin or just like a studio saying like, oh no, we want a megastar Chris Pratt. But like, if you're gonna take something legendary, you have to make sure that everything that you loved about the original is in your version.
I agree. Yeah,
it's in there.
And Chris Pratt, like, there was like when they like revealed the trailer, there was like this thing of Chris Pratt talking, and he's like, well, actually, no, sorry, this thing came out actually like a year before the trailer came out. It was like a video of Chris Pratt pretending he's like, oh,
is it like it's a me,
Mario? He says it just like that.
I thought that was a joke, but he's serious.
Then he goes, "That's not the voice. You'll have to wait to hear the voice." And then everybody hears the voice, and it's like, well, it kind of sounds the same.
No, you weren't lying to us that first time.
What, like, so you didn't do
it's a me, a Mario. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, did the studio come to him and they're like, we don't want you to do a voice, we just want you to be Chris Pratt?
And you know what I feel bad about?
What?
I feel like behind the scenes, Chris Pratt probably did a lot of work with the dialect coach and trying to nail exactly where the line between him doing an impression of Mario and his actual voice is. But it just wasn't the right line. I don't think they found it. I think they should have spent a little bit more time on it and then really nailed exactly where the voice should be.
Like higher register too. Like, here we come. Might have been a little bit better.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just like little. Here we come. It's that's not what Mario's like. Mario is like.
Mario sounds like.
It's a me, Mario.
Yeah, that's it. Like right there. And I get it. Like, they're afraid of like maybe going the full direction of Mario, because also you can see it's controversial that like, you know, the whole thing about he's like a Japanese caricature of an Italian plumber, and it's like, is this really what Italians look like?
I think I actually read an article saying that Italians would have like said it was a poll of Italians says they still would prefer him to do an over the top Italian accent.
But there's always like those American people who aren't Italian at all or have any stake in it, but they start speaking on Italians' behalf and being like, this is not what Italians sound like, this is racist.
If that's the argument, wait, you're saying Italians getting mad at Chris Pratt's Mario? Or
no, I'm saying people that assume that Italians would be mad at Chris Pratt trying to do a full Italian
I don't know
voice. Like, there are always those people that want to like fight for other people and be like, oh my god, like,
I haven't heard that yet. I think most people,
shut up.
I haven't heard that even argument yet. I think most people would prefer Chris Pratt to do at least a little bit of something.
But I can see that maybe a studio was a little scared to like just jump full into that and maybe have that be a talking point for the whole movie.
It looks,
but this isn't better.
It looks good though. Other than that,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to like act like the trailer is awful because other than Chris Pratt's voice, and even we don't really hear a good performance. We just hear a line. So like, other than that one line that might be iffy,
he's like this. He's like, what is this place? And then he's like, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. That's what he does.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, that's, first of all, that's not a whole performance, so it might be better than what it seems right now. But other than that, the rest of the trailer is phenomenal. It is so good.
It looks really dope.
The animation, like, you can see it when like the camera does like this tracking shot up Bowser's spine. It looks so wide and like weird and wonky, like a real camera would if you shot it. Like, then like an animation wouldn't do that. So like,
I've seen a few people react to it and they're all satisfied with the animation. Like, everybody's like, damn, that shit looks good.
Animation is good. The sound design, I think, is good. Like, it sounds like the world of Mario. Bowser sounds like Bowser. Like, it's all really good. The only thing that's like, I'm not sure yet, I'm not sold on, is if Chris Pratt can nail Mario.
We'll see. I don't think so. I think it's gonna be like weird. It's gonna be like such a good movie, except it's just Chris Pratt as Mario.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say like right now, like we'll see when the movie actually comes out. Yeah. But as of right now, I think the only thing I'm not gonna like about this movie is Chris Pratt's voice.
I think so too, and he's like the main character. So I think I'm gonna be rooting for Bowser on this one.
I'm gonna be Team Bowser, bro. Take Princess Peach and all that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think Anya Taylor-Joy is.
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah, is Princess Peach.
Dude, I think. Oh my god. Actually, I'm not sure. She feels like.
I haven't seen any of her stuff, so I don't know what she sounds like.
Split?
Wait, she's in Split?
She's the girl that in Split. I don't know how old.
It's been so long since I've seen Split. Oh, the one that's kidnapped. Oh, well, I can't remember because
she's also in Queen's Gambit.
I haven't seen that.
Other things.
No, I know she's big right now.
Witch, I think.
Oh wait, The Witch.
Witch? It's like double V.
Oh, I hated that movie.
Oh.
That movie sucked. Hot take. I think A24 is so hit or miss, dude.
Really?
I think they're mostly miss, honestly.
Wow. Okay, but...
Did you see the fucking movie that they just
I haven't
made?
seen Vitch.
No, okay, The Vitch... Wait, is that A24? Maybe I'm tripping.
I'm not sure.
I think it is A24. Have you seen the... I think there's like the newest one. I can't remember what it's called. I was talking to somebody about it the other day. It's called like Time or something, and it's about how they get like stranded on a beach, and then like they start like aging.
Oh, isn't that M. Night Shyamalan?
Was that M. Night Shyamalan? Oh, right. I was talking to you about it, and that's M. Night Shyamalan. Anyway, it gave me the same vibe as like a bad A24 movie, like because I feel like they both like miss at for the same reasons.
I don't like I'm not like an A24 fan, but I feel like the difference for those two is M. Night Shyamalan will have a good setup, create his world, and then completely screw it up by the third act.
Yeah.
Whereas A24, they're just really, really quirky. Yeah. They're weird. They make weird movies.
I think like at first they had some good stuff in the beginning, and then now they're just starting to like enter the realm of like we want to be weird and quirky, and then it ends up bad. Except I think I heard Marcel with the Shell, like the animation is pretty good, and I think that's A24.
I like the trailer of that.
I heard that's pretty good. So I'm sure they still have some good stuff. But like there was this one called like I think it was called like Lamb or something, and like Harry saw it and he was telling me about it, and he said it was just like the most ridiculous thing he's ever seen. Like they're just like this like it's basically this like half lamb, half human baby thing. It's just like born that way, and then it just like there are these shots of when it's like a little kid and it just like walks in this like sweater and it like comes around a corner. It looks like it just looks like this like stupid like puppet thing.
That's what A24 kind of does. Like they're weird, you know? Like,
yeah, but this is like it's almost like what is this like Sesame Street? Like it's just like what? Like I don't know. I heard that movie was whack, and then it was like just kind of not that good, and just you couldn't take it seriously because like the lamb looked so ridiculous.
Yeah, like I'm not like again A24 isn't my original cup of tea, but I can see where someone would be like, oh, I love any A24 movie. Like I have friends that are like, oh my god, any A24 movie like is the best because they're so unique.
Is Midsommar A24?
Midsommar is
that's my favorite A24 movie.
I did not like that movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it because it was like shocking, and I don't know if I want to watch it again, but I feel like it was good.
See, I don't like Midsommar because it's weird.
Yeah, but I feel like it was. I agree. Like when I walked out of the theater, I was like, I remember thinking that was an experience, and I don't know if I'll ever watch that movie again. But that being said. And I also don't know if I could recommend this movie to anyone. But what I could say is if you want an experience watching a movie, you can watch Midsommar. So I respect
That's the most, like, plain, like, statement. If you want an experience watching a movie...
Yeah,
I guess watch...
Right. But it's like, I don't know, like, the plot and stuff, it like, it connected, I guess. Like, it all, like, made sense. Like, a lot of A24 is not very, like, tightly woven, in my opinion.
Yes, that's an issue I have with A24, that their shit is just not tight.
That bothers me when movies are not like that. And so I think Midsommar was, like, the tightest one. And there is enjoyment, and it's well made, even though it was, like, weird, and I don't know if I'll watch it again, So if anybody wants to watch, like, get into A24, I would say my favorite is still Midsommar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
For that reason.
Wow.
Because, like, what are the other ones? Like, Hereditary?
Oh, is that A24?
I think it is.
You don't like Hereditary?
I think Hereditary is, like, ridiculously overhyped. I liked it, but it was also, like, I feel like people forget how depressing it is.
But isn't that the point?
Yeah, but it's not, like, enjoyable.
It's not an enjoyable.
Midsommar might be more enjoyable than Hereditary, and then it gets a little too weird at the end. I didn't understand the ending. People have tried explaining it to me, and I'm like, that's stupid. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. And so it feels like M. Night Shyamalan. Actually, now that you mentioned it, it kind of does.
Actually, M. Night Shyamalan should do A24 movies. I think they would go hand in hand.
They kind of give similar vibes.
They do give very similar vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. I was just thinking about another franchise that's kind of like that's. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Have you seen Nope yet?
No.
You haven't?
Nope.
Dude,
I have not seen Nope.
Nope is my favorite Jordan Peele movie.
Are you sure about that?
By far.
Are you sold on that?
I'm sold on that. That's probably a hot take.
On God?
That's my favorite. It's
Get Out.
I'm not that big of a fan of Get Out or Us, honestly.
Us? I understand.
You know my gripes with Us.
But Get Out.
Get Out, I think, got a little silly at the end. It was like almost really good, and then at the end where he's like, where his friend busts in, and he's like, without trying to like give spoilers away.
At the very end?
Yeah, it's like silly.
But that's Jordan Peele's type of like horror.
No, okay.
Is this one any less silly than that?
Nope is it's a lot less silly, I think.
Oh.
Nope is cool, but like one thing I will say about Nope is that there's this like side plot line that has no business being in the movie. It's like what the hell are you? Why? Okay, how do I explain it? Imagine you're watching The Avengers, and then Coulson takes up half of the movie with his side plot line.
That'd be interesting.
No, I mean you'd be like, why is Coulson like what the hell?
Why is he in the way?
Yeah, and imagine like, okay, how do I even imagine it better? Okay, so like basically like the movie is one story, and then okay, wait, here's a better example. You watch Avengers, and you spend half the movie with Coulson's backstory of growing up.
Oh.
Yeah.
We don't really need that.
Exactly. That's like Nope. It's like one story that makes sense on its own, and then there's one character that's not actually that important to the story, and for some reason we spend hours with his backstory.
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his backstory.
Is it like one of those like thematic connections?
Yes, it's a thematic connection, and I read about it, and he's talking about how it's a thematic connection, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's a thematic connection. Like, if it's not like servicing the story, like you need to either shorten it or you need to. Like,
9 times out of 10, I'm the same way. Like, it's cute that you want to do the thematic connection, but fuck that. But I only got so much time. Yeah, Stop wasting it.
But it's still my favorite Jordan Peele movie because the main storyline is hella dope. I would watch it again for sure, and I like the second storyline even though it's completely unnecessary. It's weird as fuck. And I mean, I guess it's like kind of relevant. No, not really though. It doesn't really pay off. Oh. So, but yeah, it's still enjoyable. So, Nope is definitely my favorite.
I'll see that as soon as it hits HBO Max.
Why didn't you go see it in theaters?
Okay, I have a weird thing about watching horror thriller movies in theaters. Yeah, like. The concept of like going to a theater to spook myself, doesn't sound like something that doesn't sound correct. You know,
like horror movies. It's not really.
But then, I'm totally like I watched Get Out and Us on TV. Yeah, and I fell in love with Get Out, and I even recommended it to my mom, who was like anti watching anything, death. Killing, scary, all that shit. Like, she doesn't do any of that. I'm like, you do have to watch Get Out. Yeah. Besides that point, it's fantastic. And then Us is like, it's good. It's good. It's fun.
Us is good. I just have so many like plot problems with Us.
No, the plot definitely. If you're a big plot guy, which I'm a semi-big plot guy, it's a little tougher to watch. Yeah. It's a tougher pill to swallow. Yeah. And then, so I'm gonna wait for Nope to get the same Jordan Peele TV experience. Yeah. But. I don't know. I'd have to be invited to a group that wants to see that movie, but I will never take time out of my day to bring people together to watch a thriller. You'll never find me doing that.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I think you'll like Nope. I think honestly on the whole, I think it'll be like I feel like it won't I feel like it feels different than Get Out and Us. And I don't know if people will like it more on the whole or less on the whole, but I liked it more.
Oh, it's different from those other two?
Yeah, I feel like it's like
visually different, or just it feels different? Like, what are you talking about?
No, I mean, there's some parts...
Characters and plot is different? Like, style different?
I would say it's almost like... How do I say it? I feel like Get Out and Us try to be much more like... No, this movie definitely tries to, like, give you messages, too, and, like, have a lot of metaphors and stuff woven throughout it as well. But I like how... Sometimes I find in those other ones, they're just, like, difficult to follow because there's too much of that or something, and I feel like this one is much more like straightforward to the point, and I like that. It's exciting on its own, you know?
I see.
Like, I think like a lot of people like that I've heard, they're like, oh well, you just didn't like it because you didn't know that like Jordan Peele meant to like insert this like shoe in the back of the shot because like that was like the shoe his mother wore growing up. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck that's the shoe that his mother wore growing up. Do you know what I'm saying when people like tell you shit like that?
Where people are trying to say like, no, it's art. It's
bigger than that. And it's like they're like, well, you just don't understand because like you went into this movie and like you didn't do your like background research, so you should have known that the blue ball that he bounces is actually a representation of his like dead brother's like in real life's blue ball that he had as a baby. It's like, how the fuck am I supposed to like? Why would I do like research on the director's life before?
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I feel like if like a really good movie is the type that like on a baseline is just entertaining. Yeah. I think baseline you just gotta at least be that, and then the more like for the people that really like it, they can keep going into the layers.
Yes,
and there's more.
But it can't just be layers without entertainment.
Exactly. It can't just be layers with fucking nothing on the baseline. General people can walk in and be like, yeah, that's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess you can make that same argument though for franchise movies. Like if we go in with prior context of like all Marvel movies and they make this ultimate crossover, we're like, yeah, that was epic. But then other people who just walk in to see a movie, they're like, what the fuck was that? And we're like, no, you don't understand. You don't have the background. And they're like, I shouldn't need the background. So I do kind of think that like, I do understand both arguments that like every movie should kind of exist on its own because a lot of times you're gonna get groups that want to watch a sequel but somebody hasn't seen the first one, and it is better if somehow you're able to follow the story without needing like they need to be able to reference the past context at least. Do you know what I'm saying?
But then also, what if it gets to the point where you're trying to tell such a specific story to just a movie that it almost feels like you're erasing all the context of the other films? You know?
It's definitely a balance.
Because I feel like with the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, I'm mentioning them.
Yeah.
I feel like they had a constant battle of like, we want to tell a story for this movie, and we have to continue the story of the past. We want to grow the character.
Yeah.
So which is it? Do you grow the character? If you're doing like sequels and all that, do you focus on growing the character, or do you keep trying to tell these standalone stories? Because you can't really do both when you're in your like 10th, 11th film.
No, that's tricky. It's true, but I think James Bond, for example, it did it okay because like in the first movie, you know, you continue as usual, but they're not referencing to old things. They bring in a new love interest and then they do what they do. That's 10 years old, so I can say, right?
Yes.
So they kill off the love interest, and then later in the movies of the same thing, they reference how he lost the love interest, but you get the gist. I think if you watched like...
I think they for the first 3 to 4 films, maybe more just like 3 films,
they reference
Daniel Craig's character, because I think this is the really key part. You don't have to reference anything, but it should feel like your character is on the stepping stones of the last movie.
Yes.
Like he's growing, or she is growing,
you could
or they are growing.
Right, and even if you say something like one of the characters says like, oh, he misses Vesper. It's like, okay, so he misses some girl. She probably died in some crazy way because this is a James Bond movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like there are ways to do it. And
but
the
then
best sequels don't need context.
Huh?
The best sequels don't need context of the first movie usually.
But then I feel like the last 2, we started retreading things that like this particular James Bond has already dealt with. Like freaking being a colossal... what's the word? Reckless agent that's getting so many things destroyed and killed. Like, you did this 20 years ago.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm not talking about dealing with the same issues. I'm talking about recapping, giving the context.
But that's what I'm trying to say. When you give your story too much of its own context, you might accidentally regress your character.
Let's talk about Shrek, because you were talking about Shrek earlier. I think I might be wrong on this, but I think Shrek 2 begins with a recap of Shrek 1 in a storybook.
Oh, I think you're right. And regardless, the Spider-Man movies also do that.
They do?
Yeah. The beginning of each Spider-Man movie, the Tobey Maguire ones, you get a recap of the last one, the last two.
Really?
Yeah.
How do they do the recap?
So you know how back in the day, in like early 2000s, there were just like fucking 3-minute long intro credits?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that credit sequence, right, the first one didn't really have one.
Yeah.
The second one, it recapped the first one with like images of like what happened in the first one.
See, that's cool.
And then the third one, they did it for both of the films, like the first and the second in the intro.
I like that, because it's like you get like a general idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
You give the context. So, where did we even get on this from? What movie were we talking about originally that like didn't have enough context?
We were talking about the idea that like Nope and some movies they require more layers for you to get into, rather than just.
But there's like no reference layers other than like Google, which is like, like, you know, like I feel like a reasonable reference layer is usually a first movie, but the best sequels still are their own movie, and maybe they just have like a recap or something, or they just reference it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's difficult to make a sequel regardless.
Yeah,
because you're basically taking the same character, right, and trying to do something else with them, but you already, if you did the first one really well, you can't recreate lightning in the bottle. You know, the lightning is out of the bottle now. So, you know, I think sequels are always very difficult to make.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best sequels...
Blade 2 is fantastic.
Yeah, what are some of the best... I mean, I know that Godfather 2 is considered one of the best sequels of all time, but when I watched
does it beat Godfather 1, though?
Dude, when I watched that, I was so young that I couldn't understand what they were saying.
Oh.
Like my dad... Like I was
like the accents or something? Or?
My dad showed it to me when I was like very young. Like a little kid. I don't know why my dad showed me that.
A lot of 80s dads were doing that. Like, Lauren was explaining how she saw Terminator when she was a kid. I'm like...
What do you mean 80s dads?
Huh?
What do you mean 80s dads?
It's very typical. I feel like there's a stream of movies that, like, if you had, like, a dad that was into pop culture during the 80s, they're going to show you these films.
Okay, I guess my dad was, like, 15 through, like, 25 in the 80s or something. But, yeah. So, like, he showed it to me when I was, like, little, and I just couldn't understand what he was saying. Because, like, Marlon Brando has such a thick accent in that. Which, you know, fun fact is that, like, they say that Marlon Brando would frequently, like, screw up his lines because he liked the process of ADR, which is when you, like, basically, like, in a movie when the dialogue, like, when you record it, it doesn't sound good enough. You go back and you use a microphone to talk over the footage. It's kind of like voice acting on your own video, basically. And Marlon Brando loved doing ADR because he could, like, choose how to do his lines later. So he would purposely screw up his lines so that he could go back and do ADR on them later. So, like, I wonder if, like, the Godfather accent, like, he partially did that on purpose. So, like...
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You know, like, so he, like, partially made it, like, so, like...
See, Marlon Brando, although he's probably one of the greatest actors to ever live... That dude's such a fucking nuisance at the end of his career, bro. Yeah, he's a problem for everybody.
He had a bad reputation, didn't he? At the end of his
just an issue, you know. Like, if you want to shoot a movie and just like worry just all solely on the stress of just shooting a movie, Brando would be like, "Let me add a couple more things on your plate." Bro.
Yeah,
that whole shit about Apocalypse Now.
What's the
like,
one from that?
You know how, like, they could only shoot Brando in the shadows because I think he was, like, insecure and didn't like the way he looked at the time.
Oh.
There's a lot of like issues related to dealing with Marlon Brando in that film, and that's not the only time I think Brando has tried to show up in a movie and end up having issues with it later. Right, Superman. There was a whole legal issue with Superman when Brando played his father. So. Yeah. Again, one of the greatest actors I think to ever live, but Jesus, what a fucking problem, you know?
True that. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Anyway, we were talking about The Godfather. Godfather 2 is considered one of the best sequels of all time, but I gotta give it a rewatch since I can't remember any of it.
Sequels that I've enjoyed are, and given most of them are superhero movies because I love superhero movies.
Yeah.
Blade 2. Cap 2.
I do love. That's one of my favorite Marvel movies. That might be my favorite Marvel movie.
Definitely in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to think more about other.
I was gonna say I think Shrek 2 is one of the greatest sequels of all time.
I'm not putting it over Shrek 1.
Dude, I think it's over Shrek 1.
You're never gonna catch me in public or even in private saying
Puss in Boots is not in Shrek 1.
But the joke with the onions and the ogres have layers and onions have layers.
There's still plenty of jokes.
It's a joke and it's a theme. It's a thematic theme and a joke.
There's plenty of jokes in the second one. Okay, the second one has Puss in Boots, Prince Charming, Fairy Godmother, and Pinocchio and Gingy are like bigger characters in the second one, like much.
But the whole sequence of like saving Fiona and the dragon and
but think about the whole sequence of like when like Gingy gets like the big gingerbread man, like Mungo or something.
Okay, I hear you. But
And it's like I need a hero.
Okay, but what about the when I saw her face?
There's great songs.
Now I'm a believer.
There's great songs in both of them.
But I feel like I can't put
Human
Shrek 2's stuff over Shrek 1's
Human
stuff.
Shrek, and then like when Donkey becomes like a freaking
no, that's all cool.
Stallion.
That's all cool. That's all fine. And like Fairy Godmother, great villain. But Lord Farquaad is a legend, bro.
I think
this guy was such a menace.
Dude, we gotta watch it back to back because I think you'll change your mind.
He's like, some of you may die, but his decision I am willing to live with.
Yes.
Like whatever.
But like, yes, Shrek 1 is iconic and an established Shrek as Shrek, right? But Shrek 1 walked so that Shrek 2 could run.
But that's what I'm trying to say. What's Shrek 2 without Shrek 1?
That's not the point of the conversation.
No, but some sequels don't really need their originals. That's also part of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I feel like Shrek 2 does need Shrek 1 in order to do what it does.
Maybe it doesn't because of the storybook at the beginning.
No, but the storybook doesn't hold all the juicy context. It doesn't hold the onion joke.
But is the
onion joke is also a theme?
But Kevin. Is the onion joke necessary for the sequel?
Not anymore. Not anymore. But all I'm saying is, I feel like Shrek 2 can't really be what it is without the bones of like what made Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona in Shrek.
Well, I know what the worst sequel is.
The fourth one?
Cars 2.
Of all time?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think Cars 2 is that bad. I just think it's
bad.
They just went in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They decided to go in the, everyone loves Mater route instead of the, there's a personal journey about this race car that wants to be the best, but is being the best really all that important?
Exactly. The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight's fantastic. That's a great
But you like Batman Begins even more.
I like Batman Begins more, but I'm willing to cave and say that The Dark Knight is one of those sequels that can stand on its own for its own quality.
Okay.
It's not the best Batman movie.
Yeah, you don't need to watch
Batman Begins is still the best Batman movie. But
you don't need to watch Batman Begins.
Yeah, really don't need that one to watch Dark Knight.
I respect that.
Dark Knight's just a great film, period.
Yeah. You know? That is mostly what I'm looking for, I think. Like when a movie I can just watch it no matter the number, that's good.
Yes, but at some point you're gonna start craving like, I wish they took some of the things that we had in those other films and just utilize them now.
No, they still are. It's just like a balancing act. Like Batman is still like trained by Ra's al Ghul or whatever in the Dark Knight.
In the Dark Knight he still uses a lot of the tactics from Batman Begins.
And he might, I don't know if he references him or not, but it's like, even if he did say, I trained with this guy, it's like, for you, you're like, he's talking about the first movie. For other people, they're like, okay, he trained with a guy. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I mean. I don't need the references. I'm just saying, when you do a sequel, you are working in like a already built world.
Yeah.
You can utilize some of that to your advantage.
Yeah.
I don't just mean like references or cameos. I mean just like your character learned from the end of this movie to use his surroundings or whatever. Yeah. You can then let him do that in this one and just use his.
But here's what I'll say. I think when you're like judging a movie for like quality or something, like you want to say like, if you want to put a movie on a top 100 list of movies, the movie needs to stand on its own. You cannot have it in reference of watching 22 other movies to make this movie incredible.
I agree, but then there's some stories that can't be made without context of other films.
Sure, but I'm just saying, I feel like
you're not going to get in the top 100 for a story
I feel like
that you,
the top 100, like, it needs to stand on its own, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, for example, Endgame might be epic to, like, a lot of people because they watched all the Marvel movies, right? Mm-hmm. But as time goes on and younger generations are here and they're not caught up and they just, like, watch Endgame, they're going to be like, what the fuck?
Yes, as time goes on, and I feel like as like maybe the MCU movies kind of fall into the past or something like that, Endgame's gonna seem real out of context. But I feel like Endgame's value never came from being its own film. Yeah. The value of it is that it's the last chapter of these other chapters of a book.
It's for people who did watch.
Like, what's Deathly Hallows without every other Harry Potter movie before?
No, that's a fair point too. It's
not really the same type of movie. It's more like a cinematic event than a movie.
That's fair with Harry Potter. I think, like, the first few Harry Potters are more, like, serial-esque, and you could probably read, like, book 1, 2, and 3. Maybe, like, just start at any of them. But I think it still is best if you start at 1, because you get the introductions to Hogwarts and all that stuff.
I think you could watch 1 or 2 first. I mean, obviously 1 is best, but I think you can start on 2 and be fine. Maybe even start on 3 and be fine.
You would miss a lot of context, though. That's true. Books.
But after that, you miss all the context.
Well, actually, it's interesting because books are different. Because, like, books, like, picking up a second book doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it should kind of also apply to films that, like, picking up a second film.
That's a fair point.
Kind of weird.
Point. But I feel like they're just like.
No, given there are movies that have been made that are second films and have been able to work on their own.
Yeah.
But maybe this is because the medium of film is different and special.
Different. I think it's
whereas books, it doesn't work.
You're not going to sit down. I mean, you could sit down with book club and they're like, we're going to read Harry Potter 2. But I feel like usually book club would start on Harry Potter 1 if, like, somebody hadn't read Harry Potter.
No, exactly. Like, with books, I think it's more obvious with books that if it's like 3 books, right? Yeah. It's really just one story cut into 3 pieces. It's not like one story per book.
A lot of times books are like that, It's one long story.
And I feel like some franchises, right? Some of them are really weird, like Fast and Furious. We're not going to get into that. But like franchises like the MCU in particular, they're more like a book where it's one story chopped into different pieces and layers.
Fair enough, but MCU is way too messy now to be considered a book. If you read that in a book, you'd be confused.
Oh, well, okay, hold on. Yeah. I think phase 1 to 3 makes perfect sense.
Like the initial ones and then the Avengers, sure. But at this point, it would be like, huh?
Okay, but phase 3 to 4 is in a very weird spot.
It would be like, it's like reading actual comic books. It's like you don't usually read all 22, like...
Yeah, it's kind of just hop on wherever you hop on at this point.
Exactly.
There's no time to go back into the past and read and watch every little thing that ever occurred.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so... But like the first phases, 1, 2, and 3, all the way up into Endgame and even Far From Home, right? I think it's the last movie in those 3 phases.
Maybe.
Those movies are tight. It's kind of one story.
I can't remember
There's different pieces, but it's one big story.
Maybe more recently is when it's been getting...
No, but that more recent stuff, because they've opened up the TV shows and everything, is now reflecting the comics where there's a lot of back lore at this point, and, it just is what it is,
Which I guess it's good that... it reflects comic books because it is based on comic books.
And also, I think it's more interesting because most films have to start right from where they start. Yeah. It's really rare for you to have a story that starts after so much has happened.
No, I enjoy it.
So you're going to get different, like, what would No Way Home be? And I'm not spoiling anything, but what would No Way Home be without so many other things before?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And there's enjoyment out of it, so I don't mind that it's there.
You can tell very different stories.
I'm just saying at this point, I don't know if, like, a lot of the MCU movies would end up on, a top 100 list because of the context needed to watch them. That being said, Avengers, I think, actually could, because I feel like you learn enough about the characters in the short amount of time that honestly it's still awesome, even if you haven't seen.
I think you could make a I 100% agree that Avengers, I think, on its own, Avengers is so solid. Yeah. You don't need anything. I think they really tried in the beginning to make sure that you didn't need the context. Yeah. But if you had it, you had a even more fun.
Because I'm sure there were a lot of parents or people or friends that went to Avengers and hadn't seen one of the movies. So you're like, okay, and then like Thor lands on the plane, and they're like, who's that? You know, and it's clear that it becomes clear pretty quickly that he's related to Loki. He's a god. Okay, he's like, you know what I'm saying?
I think they were able to almost try to replicate that again in Infinity War, because the story in Infinity War kind of follows Thanos' side more as the main character than the other guys. So, and that was Thanos' kind of first movie.
I don't know if you could watch Infinity War without just by itself. I really don't know.
I think. Now I have the context, so I can't speak for people that don't.
There's too much going on.
That's the thing but because it's centered on Thanos' story, you can kind of ignore the other half, which is like the Avengers, and all that stuff needs more context.
So you're saying but you still should be able to follow the whole movie,
huh?
You're saying if you chop half of the movie out, then it's.
I'm saying if you chop half the movie out, there is one through line story there with Thanos.
I guess that's...
So then if you add everything back in, it's a little bit more messy. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to ever be as tight as the first Avengers film, but I think out of all the different MCU kind of projects, that one can kind of almost hold on its own.
Okay, I'm not sure. I think if you say, oh, well, that one's all right because it can follow this one plot line, it's like, no, you should be able to follow like all of it.
I mean, no, you definitely should, but I'm just saying, out of the bunch, I think the closest
out of the more recent ones, like they had to deal with like a lot more stuff. Yeah,
maybe. Out of the Avengers films in particular, too, like Infinity War is probably the most on its own tightest.
No, I remember like when those came out, I actually enjoyed Infinity War more than Endgame. But when I watched them back, I think I enjoyed Endgame more than Infinity War.
Yeah, I watched them. I mean, obviously, I've done many rewatches time and time again, and. The first time I watched all of them, I was like, Endgame I love more than Infinity War. It's definitely cheating because it's using other things from the past, but the way it wraps all the stories and reaches an actual conclusion is just better. And then I watched it with my other roommate in my last apartment, and he was someone that was like Infinity War over Endgame. Yeah. We watched it together. He was like, actually... Endgame over Infinity War.
Yeah, I think that's because like when you watch them back, all the payoff is in Endgame, but Infinity War was still maybe like
it's definitely tighter.
It's tighter, yeah.
It's definitely way tighter. I'll never argue that
because you watch it back as one movie, and obviously the second half's going to be more exciting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the value that you get from Endgame actually beats the value you get from Infinity War.
Yeah, not like by themselves though.
But that's the thing. I want to find someone that's never watched a Marvel movie and then find out which they get more value from,
and just like watch those only.
Because I still feel like Endgame actually has more emotional value because of Tony Stark's story.
Yeah,
and no spoilers. But Tony Stark's story with, his familial past and Captain America's story with his loss. Like, I think you get more emotional value from those two than Thanos with his, stuff.
All right, well, you know what? If you're someone out there listening who, for some reason...
has not seen the biggest movies.
MCU movies.
Literally the biggest movies ever.
Hit up Sean and
next to Avatar.
Ask him, pull up, and we'll have you watch.
We will bring you here. We will wine and dine you.
We'll have you watch Infinity War and then Endgame.
Yeah.
And just see if it makes any sense.
First, if it makes any sense, and secondly, which do you actually get more
joy from?
Yeah, which brings you more value?
We'll have you write down your thoughts on each.
On a separate piece of paper.
Actually, maybe we'll have you watch one.
You will do a 5-point
I think if you
quiz.
watch them back to back, Endgame gets the edge. So I want to give them at least a little mimic of what we had to go through in theaters. So I think we have them watch Infinity War one week, like one Friday, have them write down their thoughts. Then next Friday come back, so they have a little bit of a break in between. Watch Endgame, write down their thoughts. Then have them decide which one they like more. I think that's the best way to go about it.
That makes sense.
All right, so whoever you are who hasn't seen any Marvel movies ever, hit up Sean.
Exactly. Please hit me up. But speaking of films, we should probably mention this one because we watched it this week, and it was pretty whack.
Yeah.
So we just watched Zoolander.
Oh, yes. I love Zoolander.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's a ride.
I love Zoolander.
It's a ride.
It's honestly it's up there for me.
Really?
I love it.
For me, it's weird because like, how old is the movie?
It's like
is it in spoiler territory?
I think it's like 2001 or something.
Okay, it's definitely spoiler territory. But it's just so whack. I've never seen Zoolander before.
Maybe it's like 2000. No, I think the sequel's 2010. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
Like, I've never seen Zoolander before.
Yeah.
So I was going into watching like a new movie basically.
Yeah.
And like, it is so dumb, line to line, second to second, shot to shot.
Yeah.
But it's still good. You know, like, so it still brings a lot of value.
I think there's more to life than being ridiculously, really, really good looking. And then the blue steel.
And the blue steel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's so dumb. And for me, it feels a bit dated. I'm not gonna
it's definitely
lie.
a bit. Well, it's dated as. It's as dated as a lot of comedies that year are.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not holding it against it for being dated, but like for me, it just feels like the comedy, the type of comedy that I consume now is so different.
Yeah.
That it's just like I'm entertained, but I don't know if I'm enjoying it. Does that make sense?
I think it gets better. Like every time you watch it, it gets even better because it's like I don't know. There's something so pure about the comedy. Like it's just the most like you know, you grow up and like doing something stupid is funny to your siblings or to whoever. Mm-hmm. And I think it fully encapsulates just like stupid comedy, and it does it to the max, and it's awesome.
It does do it to the super max.
Yeah, and I think it's like written way smarter than you think because it's written so stupid. It's like written so well. I don't know.
No, I feel like the stupidity in it, like there's definitely some jokes in there that it's dumb comedy, but it's kind of talking about like real issues.
I mean, yeah, it's talking about. I mean, it's also hilarious, like this whole concept of male models being these like assassins because they're so stupid that they
literally cannot think for themselves.
Exactly. And
no, like the jokes. There's definitely some smart things going on in terms of the writing of the jokes. Yeah. But it's just like it's like so dumb. It's like so dumb, and sometimes I can't really get over how dumb it is.
Yeah, I love it. And
this is really dumb.
It's great.
So, I can see why it's like. I feel like it's like a cult classic. Like,
yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure. I think
it's good.
Ben Stiller wrote that, right? Yeah, it said he wrote that.
Yeah, Ben Stiller.
He's good, man.
And starred in it.
He's got chops.
Where is Ben Stiller, bro?
I don't know.
Is he done or retired, or can we bring him out of retirement?
I think he's actually like producing a show right now. I think, but I don't know if he's like acting that much anymore.
The last thing I saw him in, I guess it was like Night of the Museum 3.
Dude, I love Ben Stiller movies. Like I love like Meet the Parents, Night of the Museum.
What's that one? It's called like Life or like The Life.
Oh, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yeah,
that one was like okay.
I actually enjoyed that one.
I mean, I only saw it once, but like it wasn't. It was like different. It wasn't like your classic like Ben Stiller. Like,
it wasn't like it wasn't like fucking Tropic Thunder or something like that.
Yeah, or Dodgeball. You know how Ben Stiller? You haven't seen Dodgeball?
Oh, you know what? I've seen the third act of Dodgeball.
Yeah, that's what the one that Ben Stiller's in.
Yeah.
He's like
he pull off those fucking crazy
evil
tricks.
like gym guy from the other like dodgeball team. Yeah.
No, there's definitely that early 2000 comedy that was
like Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, Ben Stiller.
It's underappreciated.
All those guys. You know?
It's underappreciated.
We should watch some more Ben Stiller movies.
No, we'll try to stick a couple more in there. We gotta stick more comedies in there. I feel like I'm always in the mood for dramas, but I kind of want to chop that a little bit, get a little bit more comedy, just kind of sew it in there.
There's so many classics. I would watch Meet the Parents again. I love Meet the Parents.
I don't think I could sit through Meet the Parents.
Did you watch Meet the Parents?
I did see Meet the Parents.
That's one where the sequel's even better. Meet the Fockers.
I haven't seen Meet the Fockers.
You haven't seen Meet the Fockers?
I haven't seen Meet the Fockers.
Dustin Hoffman is Ben Stiller's dad in Meet the Fockers.
Who?
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin.
You know, like The Graduate.
Oh yes.
Or Rain Man.
Right.
Yeah, he's so good. And I think Barbra Streisand is like his mom or something.
That's hard as fuck.
Yeah, it's like really good.
That's hard as fuck.
Yeah, we should watch Meet the Fockers. And Owen Wilson's in those too, if you remember.
Yes.
He plays Kevin.
That's funny because your name is Kevin.
Yeah,
that's funny.
There was a Kevin in the show we just watched.
Another what? What?
K.E.
Oh, yeah, there sure was with Kevin.
No spoilers.
Oh my god, no spoilers. But like, honestly, I really love that they did that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the ending any better, but I really love that they did.
It was funny. It was funny. All right. Well, on that note, I think it might be about that time.
Already? I feel like we just got started. Right? We haven't even talked about like. I don't know.
Yeah. What are some things quickly, just like that we wanted to talk about that we forgot again this week? Because I feel like we did a pretty good job.
Here's the thing, I already forgot what I wanted to talk about.
Exactly, so I can't remember, so that's a problem.
Yeah, see, now we're in this loop. Well, I guess the next time we come back to this, we'll bring those topics up again and see where we're at.
I think we talked about a lot of the stuff, actually, so I think we checked the boxes.
We didn't talk about, like, that one, we didn't talk about pumpkin carving.
We didn't talk about our week, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't talk about like our week, we just talked about like straight movies, you know.
Sometimes we do that. Alright, well we pumpkin carved this week.
We did pumpkin carve this week. We got together with some friends.
Yeah.
And we like it was fun. It was really cute.
That was a really good time.
But there was always that bloke, like, okay, this is gonna sound really rude. I don't mean it like this. But like there's always that person in like an art school that like they go crazy on their art and it makes you feel like you're stupid. There was definitely that person in this group when we were pumpkin carving.
Did you feel like that?
In a funny way, that like, oh, like it's funny that there's always that one person, but like, not like I took it personally.
Yeah, I was about to say, you gotta let the artist's art.
Yeah, but there's always just like that one person when you pumpkin carve and they create the most crafty, beautiful piece of art on their pumpkin, and I'm here with just a face with triangles and shit. I'm just like, I'm trying.
Hey, there were some sexy pumpkins, but
there were a lot of sexy pumpkins.
But no, I just did the classic too. You know, triangle nose. You know,
just try to do a little something.
Exactly. We did that. What else did we do?
We did that. We watched that episode of Black Mirror.
Yes, for just getting in Halloween vibes. You know, it's October.
Exactly, fall. It's October, fall season. Get out your pumpkin spice.
I think the fall is my favorite time of year, bro. Because like,
serious?
Yeah, I think so. Because like the fall.
Serious?
Because like the fall like leads into December too is also part of it.
Also, it's kind of like a back-to-back.
Yeah, it's like you get like
it's like Infinity War Endgame.
Yeah, you get Halloween vibes with like skeletons and spookiness. And then you go into the fall and you get like the orange and red leaves in November, and then Thanksgiving with all the food, and then you get the red and the green and Christmas vibes, and then you know New Year's, and it's just the best time of year, bro. We're getting into it.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think but I don't think I love fall the most, but I love this sequence of like Halloween. Fall, it's cozier, it's colder. I mean, LA's kind of weird, but it's usually cozier and it's colder, and we're all kind of eating and like more rustled in. And then the winter comes and it's really cold, and you're like with family, and there's a lot of love and like gratitude in the air and gifts. And then you go into like, I think 2 weeks of spring where it's nice and hot, and you know, like we're all just outside, like partying, having fun, like that. Span is the best time of year. Yeah. Like ever. It's just like, such a good time.
It makes getting like the first half of the year it's like but then the second half of the year it's like
Exactly. But then everything after like the first 2 weeks of real spring to like all the way through summer until you get to like fall again, that shit's ass.
Well, summer's nice, but it's like
summer's not. I feel like the only reason summer is nice.
No offense to January. I know that's like one that has a special place.
Okay, January's goated with the sauce. Don't say shit about January.
If it's snowing, it's okay because it's like a nice vibe.
Don't say shit about January.
Fine. I'll say February. Okay.
All right.
February, March, April. May.
No, but here's the thing.
The end of May is lit because that's when school usually ends. To June, July. That's nice because
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like the vibes for fall into winter into like maybe the beginning of spring is fun because that's just a great time of year. But the only reason summer has value to us is because of summer break.
That's true.
There's no actual value from summer. It's hot. I'm sweating. There's no holidays.
But you can't pass up the fact that there is summer break. It just is a thing.
No, I'm passing up on it because if school literally changed the clock so you're in during the summer where there's no holidays and then you get a break during the winter, different conversation.
I guess we don't really have school now too, so it's just like summer's just kind of like there.
Exactly. And like, but since the holidays are set in stone and like the way the leaves and like the actual like atmosphere changes,
I think it's refreshing.
That's set in stone.
It's refreshing too when the atmosphere changes. It's
way more refreshing.
Yeah.
Summer is just the same day every day. We're hot. Sweaty.
We're gonna have a Halloween.
We are having a little Halloween bash. We'll tell you how it goes when we get there.
We got a few more weeks.
We have some so many ideas too. Like we're not just throwing a party, and I won't leave any spoilers because we're still like developing the party as we get to it.
Yeah.
But we have so many ideas for this party. This is not just freaking hanging out with friends. You feel me? Like it's gonna be lit.
What day is it? Because like I think next week it's October 13th.
Our party's on the 29th.
Okay, so we have how many more episodes? Next week we have the 20th, and then we have one on the 27th.
7th?
Yeah.
Alright. We'll reveal what it's called on the 27th.
And what our costumes are on the 27th.
We'll reveal what it is.
Alright, well on that note, I think we did a little bit more of a catch up.
We got a little in at the end there.
Yeah, it was a fun week. It was a chill week.
Yeah, we got a pretty good week, honestly.
Yep. Starting to work.
We are pretty close.
So that's good.
That's true. Yep. That's true. Lego finally called.
Yeah.
I finally figured out a place that I actually would love to work at.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to spoil it or not?
It's not yet. It's not time. But just know that it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. All right, well, we'll catch you next week at the same time as always, because, I was trying to think of a catchy catchphrase, but I already did the Batman one.
Spooky. We gotta do like a Halloween type of, you know what I mean? Like.
How about we do the Twilight Zone? Because Jay's doing the Twilight Zone. Down. For my WJ folks out there, my brother's doing the Twilight Zone. Shout out Jay.
Yeah, shout out Jay.
But that's how we could end it. Like, how do they end it? It's like, this is find out or. I can't remember exactly, but it's like
I know we gotta watch a Twilight episode.
Yeah, no, we should watch a Twilight Zone episode. Those episodes are pretty good. Yeah. But it's like,
tune in.
What will happen next? Will they survive? I don't know. That's just how it goes down in the Twilight Zone. Or something like that.
Anyway, it's been chill. It's your boy King Cuddy. That guy's coffee right next to me.
Coffee drippy.
Yeah, and 2 Chainz.
Peace.